Mr. Smith packs a punch. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, gather around, for I'm about to regale you with a tale from the distant past of 1939, when men were men, women were women, and politicians, well, they were just as corrupt as they are today. The film in question is none other than Frank Capra's Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. This cinematic fossil, in all its black and white glory, is a charming cocktail of naive idealism, political intrigue, and a dash of romantic comedy. It's like a vanilla sundae with a cherry of corruption on top, sprinkled with the notes of bureaucracy. The film tells the story of Jefferson Smith, James Stewart, and every man plucked from obscurity and thrown into the snaky pit of Washington, D.C., like a lamb sent to charm a den of hungry wolves with a harmonica. He's as naive as a newborn babe, and about as well prepared for the rough and tumble world of politics as a marshmallow at a campfire. Our Mr. Smith is appointed to the Senate by the powers that be, in the hope that he'll sit quietly in the corner, like a good little puppet. But, oh dear reader, he's not a marionette. He's a stick of dynamite in a field of dry grass. And when he discovers the corruption percolating in the Senate, he becomes the political equivalent of a hand grenade with an iffy pin. Stewart's performance is as refreshing as a splash of cold water on a hot summer's day. He's the embodiment of the American dream, if that dream included going head-to-head with corruption like David against a really well-dressed Goliath. But this Goliath has a team of slick lawyers and the moral flexibility of a gymnast on a trampoline. And let's not forget about Jean Arthur's performance as Clarissa Saunders, Smith's savvy secretary. She's sharper than a tack and quick as a whip, and if you're not careful, you might just find yourself in love. Arthur's character is the cynicism to Smith's optimism, the yin to his yang, the vodka to his orange juice. Now, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington is a bit like a jalapeno. It might seem mild at first, but it packs a punch. Capra's portrayal of the political machine is as subtle as a sledgehammer to the face and is bound to leave you reeling. The corruption is presented with such bluntness that it feels like being hit with a bag of bricks labeled "Democracy for Sale." And the famous filibuster scene. Oh, the filibuster. You've got Smith, standing alone against a sea of sneering senators, defending the principles of democracy with nothing more than his voice and his conviction. It's a tour de force performance that will have you on the edge of your seat, biting your nails, and possibly questioning your own political apathy. In conclusion, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington is nothing short of a political roller coaster, a dizzying ride through the machinations of power, corruption, and one man's unwavering faith in the principles that make up the bedrock of democracy. It's a film that's as American as apple pie, baseball, and questionable election results. So, pop some popcorn, pour yourself a stiff drink, and buckle up for the ride. It's going to be a bumpy one. And remember, as you wipe away your tears of laughter or frustration, this is not just a film. It's a mirror held up to our society, reflecting the best and worst of us. So, let's raise a toast to Mr. Smith, the man who went to Washington and showed us that the pen, or in this case the voice, is indeed mightier than the sword.